Alright everyone, this video keeps pulling up, it keeps showing up on my recommended feed, and I have to react to it because it keeps showing up, guys. It won't stop showing up on my feed, and hey, I haven't seen it yet. This one's called What If Forks Were Made Out of Salt? So interesting. Is he gonna make a salt fork? Let's see.
What if forks were made of salt?
What? Atlantic sea salt? Never even heard of Atlantic sea salt, guys. What is Atlantic sea salt?
Every bite of food be perfectly salty? Let's take a look at our stakeholder requirements.
Whoa, that's like three. That's like three burgers stacked up in one.
It must look like your everyday fork. And number 2.
Why is he calling it a stakeholder? I guess that's the best stakeholder around, kind of.
It must be capable of stabbing and lifting a piece of steak. After weeks in the design phase, I finalized the CAD models and bought one of these Himalayan pink salt blocks. Same kind of salt in those lamps that girls like. Apparently used.
I used to have like a Himalayan pink salt like mister or something, and it's supposed to help like clear out the lungs, man.
For cooking in the...
I used to smoke a lot, and it really made my lungs bad. Like I was always coughing up like phlegm and stuff. But thankfully, I quit smoking, guys.
Blockular format. And so I set out, not to cut, carve, or chisel, but to liberate a fork from that block of salt. I started freehanding it with my reciprocating saw, confident that the fork
I thought he was gonna like 3D print it, but he's doing the old-fashioned way.
Would be ready in time for lunch. But I ended up with this dinky 3-pronged thing. I figured I could do better, so I transposed my CAD model onto the remaining piece of the salt block and got back to liberating.
Good idea,
But that's when my problems really began, and I saw my first catastrophic failure.
Uh-oh. No!
The failure of the next attempt was my fault. Just brain damage, to be honest. And a few hours into attempt number 4.
Oh, so close. Actually, so close, man. Dude, he's almost done there. He's actually almost done.
Dinky boy number 1 started to look pretty good, so I tried making its prongs pointy with the Dremel. I googled in desperation, and apparently a fork can have as few as 2 prongs. So stakeholder requirement number 1, long forgotten, I decided to try making a 2-pronger, holding the salt in my hands instead of in the vise because I thought it would be less likely to break.
With no gloves? He's doing it with no gloves.
Fuck! I do still have all 10 fingers, but I ended up with this abomination. Technically a fork, but technicalities were not going to carry me to victory here. I'd run out of chunks of salt that were big enough to make a reasonably sized fork with, and I think inhaling salt dust was starting to get to me.
I'm fucking covered in salt.
So I gave up for the day, and after a pretty uninspired
this is a cool thing, bro.
Rethink, came to the conclusion that I needed to buy some new
That's definitely New York, right? Or like LA or something.
Saws. For cutting the fork's prongs, I bought a scroll saw, which has this tiny, delicate blade.
Oh, there you go, there you go.
If I'm gonna cut off a part of my body, it might as well be a whole arm, so I
Oh, don't say that, bro, don't.
got this huge miter saw for quick...
Aren't you scared of like that happening, guys?
Cutting chunks out of a new block of salt. If I wasn't inhaling an unsafe amount of salt dust before, my storage room / workshop started to look like a scene out of a war movie.
Oh
but at
my
least
gosh.
if something went wrong with my new saw, my body would be nicely preserved. I came back a few hours later after the dust had settled and started scroll sawing, which actually started decently well, although the fork was looking a bit thick.
Oh, I think he's gonna do it like that. I think he's gonna complete it like that. Is it using like a computer duster to dust off right there?
But I cut out some prongs and figured I'd narrow them down.
Oh, perfect!
Progress was slow,
if he chips off a piece, we're gonna be mad.
I thought I'd cut the fork in half lengthways. And of course I broke the handle. But that's okay, short fork good. So I went back to the Dremel, but instead of the prongs getting sharper or thinner, they just kept crumbling. My next idea was to cut a wedge out of the salt block and then just scroll saw some prongs and they'd be pointy without further modification. But the salt just crumbled. Then I thought of cutting triangular prongs out of a thin slice of salt, sort of like shark teeth, which would have been great if the point of a fork was to inflict maximum damage on your food. I was out of ideas and dejected. I slept for 3 hours in the middle of the day after this, and when I coughed later on, my
Hey, I also slept 3 hours in the middle of the day. Actually, in the morning.
mouth tasted salty, so that probably wasn't good.
Jeez, bro. Maybe need a face mask for this.
Considered giving up. But then I thought to myself, where would we be if our ancestors had given up when carving the first stone tools? Where would we be? So I started looking for alternatives. I discovered that you can actually melt and
Man, that's a cool edit right there.
cast salt, but that would require me to build an 800-degree furnace, and the results that people were showing on YouTube weren't all that promising for fork making. But then, on a Quora post about laser cutting salt, I stumbled upon my hero. Antonio Lodico 8 years ago wrote, "Perhaps just water." Legend. I
Wait,
cut
what?
out a new block of salt and then the rough shape of a fork without worrying too much about the thickness of its prongs.
Yeah, he's definitely got a little bit of experience making forks out of Himalayan salt now. Not gonna lie.
Then I dipped the prongs in water over
Whoa!
and over until they dissolved and became thin enough to
Can't believe somebody asked that in Quora, man. That's why the internet is good. That's why the internet is good.
be working fork prongs.
I'd be nervous trying this out, man.
A few finishing touches with the Dremel, and there we go.
Not
just
bad.
One thing left to do.
Guys, please don't flame it. Please don't flame it if it's well done, man. I actually like my steaks well done, but I don't eat steak that much anymore after I almost died from one. I had the infamous. I started choking, man. I started choking. Thankfully, someone was around to save me. But I'm never eating steak alone, ever. Oh my gosh, it's gonna dissolve.
Come on.
Oh man.
I think I need to. Oh! A bigger chunk.
Oh, it's actually a medium well or something. Yes! Right before it melted, man. Mission complete.
Dude, yes! It actually worked. Kinda gotta suck on the fork. And every bite was indeed salty. I had to put my
Imagine they mass produce these things. Would you get? I would actually get one because you're supposed to salt your steak in the first place, anyways. You know.
salt grinder and forks where they belong. Despite some understandable concerns about hygiene,
So will you try it if I clean it?
user reviews were pretty good.
Are you stoked for the salt?
Guys, would you try it if your friend just used it? I would kind of, but it's melting. It's melting second by second, man. I don't think Himalayan pink salt is that resistant to water. It's salt, man. It's salt.
Oh, look at that.
Water soluble.
It's actually really good, bro.
Dude, this could be the future, man, because we all need salt in our diets, bro. So if they have like some like disposable and it's good for the environment because they're plastic, guys. They're plastic. They're actually they're edible. It would save the environment if we all had some salt forks.
Yeah, bro. This is really good. Do you think you can make this?
Real user research.
Yeah. Perhaps this one.
The lift.
My friends
She likes
have
it. She likes it.
herpes, as well as the
Jeez, bro. Hey, at least he's on. But no, I don't think he will. But maybe.
indelible memory of the salt fork experience. And let me tell you, friends, once you go salt fork, you can't go back. You just can't.
He's not even lying, bro. This is a genius idea. And I wish it was mass produced. he going to a restaurant now?
Some notable drawbacks of the salt fork are its less than impressive pasta twirling and near inability to pick up certain foods with a higher water content.
Dang, he still has it, guys. How's it not melting that quick?
Cheating.
I mean, it's pretty thick fork though.
Yeah, that's my
Also, it disintegrates with every fork and every bite, and to wash it is to destroy it. But nevertheless, I fell in love. It was a good run. It was a beautiful time in my life when I was using the salt fork, but after a couple weeks, I could tell its life was drawing to a close.
A couple weeks? Dang, bro. I thought it would melt a lot faster, for reals.
So I deepened its grooves one final time and fired up one final steak.
Steak looks good when you're hungry, for reals.
I got 15 times my recommended daily sodium intake, but it was worth it. Sort of. It was horrible. It was way too salty.
Uh-oh, he bit off a piece of it.
Oh, oh.
More than a utensil, the salt fork is a reminder that life and the best things in it are temporary. That you too will one day sink your teeth into a piece of steak for the last time.
Hopefully not.
I hope for you that that day is far in the future. Thanks for watching.
Oh, he's cleaning up all the salt off his floor. Oh my gosh. Well, that's one way to go viral. Very nice video. Check out Ben Walker in the description, guys. I'll see you next video.